Welcome to Grant Teach Me Something Season 3, where the season numbers are arbitrary and the points are golden nuggets. So here we are today in honor of Season 3. I'm going to do a series, and I'm going to attempt for this entire 3 months to be a 3-part series in every episode. So we are going to be doing 3 steps to blank. Today we are going to be doing 3 steps to finding and converting free leads. This is something that is super important that I've done my entire career, and I want to encourage you guys to be looking for too, because there are other ways to close deals other than straight up driving for dollars and sending out your marketing mail and doing your cold calls and that kind of stuff. So stick around with us. When we come back, we're going to be jumping right into how you can find these leads and how you can convert these leads, and we'll see you when we get back.
Propelio TV is sponsored by Noble Mortgage and Investments, CreativeCashFlow.com, and Life and Air.
Teach me something.
Grant for Grant, teach me something. Season 3, episode 1. Points don't matter. Nuggets.
Yeah, you're like that?
I like that.
When the season numbers are arbitrary and the points are golden nuggets.
Whose line is it anyway?
Yeah, whose line is it anyway? Yeah, heck yeah. All right, so here's the thing is that, again, free leads, who doesn't want free leads, right? We all want free leads. So we have resources, and we have to understand what those resources are and how to utilize those to close houses. And I think that one of the problems that we can so easily fall into is that we forget to appreciate the resources that we have. We forget to appreciate what we can bring to the table. And we get so wrapped up in what some forum on Bigger Pockets from 2011 said works, that we forget that there's other ways to get things done and that we can use our strengths. So that's all very cryptic.
Yeah, well, what I hear in that is it's a callback to what we say probably every other episode. And Daniel, I think, was one of the first to introduce it, mainly because it's, Propelio and Daniel's shows. But about the whole, you have 3 things to make a deal. You have time, expertise, and money. Mm-hmm. So when it comes to free leads, you probably don't have the money.
That's my thing. I'm going to take credit for that.
Okay,
anyway.
Well then you can take credit for it. But go for it. But I'm just saying, it's like, but if you have a lot of time, that's when you can put in the work, do the raw work to get those so-called free leads.
Right, exactly. And that is precisely the deal, right? Is being able to boil down the fact that you need time, you need knowledge, or you need money to get a deal. That's the trifecta, right? So a lot of times we get really wrapped up in the direct marketing, which you have to do direct marketing. But it's funny because I was having a conversation actually on the podcast for the AZ Flip guys. And, they're pounding in the networking. And it's so true. I mean, we had this little moment there because I train my students the importance of networking. And I'm like, look, you buy your houses through networking and getting out there, showing people that you can do this, finding others that need your help and that kind of thing. And they're like, yeah. So how do I make a phone call? Okay, well, this is how you make a phone call. But don't forget, you need to be going to these networking events. You need to be, that's cool. So what does a mailer look like, right? I've closed like 95% of my deals from networking. And for whatever reason, people do not want to listen to you when you try to talk about the importance of networking when it comes to closing deals.
But I don't think it's just for networking. I just don't think people want to listen, period. Because
Well,
there's things that you can be passionate about, or there's things that you come across that you're like, that are mind-blowing to you, and it's being able to, transition that thought or convey that knowledge of, oh my God, hey Grant, you need to be paying attention to this one thing I'm saying at this moment in time because it is everything for your business. Yeah, but how do I do this?
Right.
So you need to be able to transition and convey that. That's a different topic, different time. But.
Sure. And in fairness, all those other things are important too, right? And I understand the importance of feeding the bits of knowledge that you want to know because that's super important, right? We need to answer the questions that you've got. But part of our job up here is to answer the questions that you've got, and part of our job up here is to say, hey guys, this isn't a question you're asking, but this is the answer you need to know. Right. And
we're the knowledge you didn't ask for, but the knowledge you need.
Right? Not like the hero.
Whatever.
Anyway, so the reason why I bring that up is not to bash students by any means, but it is to bring up that even if because probably already the fact that I said networking in this, probably some of you are like, oh, okay, well, stop, pay attention. This is how I close deals. I've built $1 million portfolios off of this, right? And so we need to understand that networking is extremely important. Even if you don't necessarily understand that networking is extremely important and you're so dead focused on your direct mail marketing or your direct calls or whatever that might be, I need you to stop, take a minute, and really pay attention to this episode, because there are so many deals to close out there where other people are spending the money to get that networking or to get that direct marketing done, and you are allowing that money to funnel up into somebody who is then funneling into you.
And there, when networking, you need to be thinking in terms of not just the singular target of finding deals, but you should always be paying attention, always meeting people, always just having those conversations, because they may drop a nugget in just a passing conversation.
Yes.
They may drop keys to their business, and then later in their head they're like, "Oh shit, I didn't mean to say that."
Yeah, no, there's a lot of truth to that.
You get a couple drinks at a networking event,
yeah,
and as we all do, sometimes we like to pound our chest. Mm-hmm. Oh man, I got this one deal. Man, you're not gonna believe how I got it. Take a mental note and take that as gold.
Right.
Don't look for the other opportunity to let me just jump in the conversation.
Absolutely. You've got to listen, right? So today's episode, what we're going to do is we're going to do a 3-part series, right? It's 3 steps. So step 1 is going to be the networking and the importance behind that. Rewind. Step 1 is actually evaluating what you have to give. Like we talked about the time, knowledge, money, that kind of thing. Step 1 is that evaluation. So that's what we're going to work on in our first segment. Our second segment, we are going to directly discuss the networking aspect of it, how to ask those questions, how to present yourself to somebody to get them to actually trust you with their lead, because that's a big step for somebody to entrust that, hey, if I hand this lead to you, A, I'm not going to get screwed, B, I'm going to make money off of it, right? And then in our third segment, the third step is going to be, how do you actually structure this out to where it makes sense for everybody, right? To where you're not necessarily paying for the marketing that got that lead, but you've got to compensate the person that gave you that lead. How are we going to structure these deals? So those are going to be our 3 steps, is analyze what you've got to give, how do we actually network and talk to the person that has this lead, and how are we going to structure that deal in a way that makes sense for everybody, where everybody wins.
I like it.
Makes sense? So let's start off with that analysis of what we have, right? Thank you for bringing up the time, knowledge, and money aspect of it. If you've watched, because we did an episode probably 5 or so weeks ago on raising private capital. We did a 2-part series on raising private capital. And I dropped a lot of nuggets in there about the networking aspect of it, because we spent one class talking about that networking side, and we spent the other class talking about the structuring of that private capital. And I dropped the phrase on you guys at that point in time that, again, as I bring this up, every time, no matter how experienced the audience is that I'm talking to, because guys, I'm in some pretty high-level masterminds with some pretty high-level folks, and anytime I've ever said this kind of stuff, I see everyone's head drop and they start to write this question. The question to start your networking off is, how can I help you? What are you trying to leverage? Are you trying to leverage your time, your knowledge, or your money? Right? So that's how we start our conversation with our networking partner, the person that we're talking to, and we're going to get more into their side of it on segment 2.
What I like about that, real quick, is when you use that phrase, let's just be honest. At every single networking event you ever go to, what does everybody have? They all have money. I'm a cash buyer. I'm a cash buyer.
Yeah.
You could probably have a dime to your name, but you've been told that I'm a cash buyer because that's what you do as a wholesaler. Well, at a networking event, if you say it like that, if you don't have money, guess what you're not going to say?
That's a really good point.
Because but if you say, hey, do you have money? Yeah, I buy a ton of houses. I have money.
That's a very good point.
But if you point it, if you're like, hey, what are the 3 things that you, this, or this, I guarantee you they're not, well, I have money.
Well, and so I really appreciate that you brought that up, because that's a new way of thinking about it that I hadn't really appreciated before. So
This is the example of what we're talking about. Is this could be considered as networking?
right?
In this conversation, you were actively listening. You picked something up.
There you go. Absolutely.
Anyway, go, sorry.
So I really appreciate you pointing that out, because it's very true. Because so much of what I do in negotiations, and this goes back to, so like last week's episode, the finale of season 2. We talked about cold calling, and one of the big principles that I was teaching in that episode was we don't want to put people on their heels right from the beginning, right? We need to give them some options. We need to make them feel good about themselves so that they do open up and they do talk. This is part of what's happening here, is that people are defaulting to saying, oh, I'm a cash buyer, I've got money, even though they might not really have the money, they've got access to capital or whatever. But by giving them another answer, by saying, because everybody, you do have to have time, knowledge, or money, right? By giving them another way to not feel like an idiot by saying that they don't have capital, you get a little bit more of an honest answer. So that's a really good observation. So again, segment 2, killing it. Segment 2, we'll talk more about their side of it. Segment 1, right now, we want to talk about our side of it, because you cannot get without give. Okay, if you've heard my negotiations, and by the way, our negotiations masterclass on CreativeCashFlow.com has launched, but my tech guy is out of town and I didn't really plan on that, so our price hasn't gone up yet. So right now is a really good time for you to get in, because I was going to raise the price as soon as that launched.
It's like it's like the furniture store that's the name of the store is closing soon.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I was so ready to do it, and then I sent him a message and I was like, oh God, he's on vacation. I'm such an idiot. Anyway, so now's a good time to go in. Anyway, so getting back to what we're analyzing on ourselves, if anybody's listened to my negotiation series or listened to me talk about negotiating, you understand that one of my major principles is you never give without get. Never give without get. I've had one situation where I was negotiating, and I had already gotten everything that I could possibly imagine, but then they wanted something else from me that I was totally fine with getting or giving to them. But I literally, in the negotiation, sat there racking my brain for what I was going to ask for in return, and I couldn't come up with something. So literally my answer was yes, I will give this to you. But if I come up with something in the next couple of days, you have to be willing to hear me out and be willing to do this. And they were like, okay, you know what I mean? And I can never think of anything anyway. But the whole point is, it's always a two-way street. Always. And we do a lot of stuff that sets that up for ourselves so that we are intentionally giving something that we would already be willing to give, just so that they feel the reciprocity need to give us something back later, right?
But also, if you just fast forward to 2019, say that networking, whether that be in person or via email, if you're just asking for something in the sea of 2019 of just getting just abundance of content, whether it be that you're consuming on social media or your work or your lead flow, if you're getting an email that says an ask, you're gonna be like, delete.
Exactly.
So if you have a give in there and be like, hey, I'm gonna give you this is the ask.
Right.
This is what I'm trying to get.
Exactly.
And just be open. Don't be trying to skirt it. Be like, hey, I'm going to, hey, my end goal is to get XYZ from Grant, but I'm going to talk about A through whatever's before X.
Right.
And just waste your time.
Yeah.
So just get to the point. Here's my give. Here's my ask. What's up?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You've got it. So again, here we analyze what we have to give, because that is such a massive part of free leads, because you don't get free leads just for being some dude that walks up and is like, hey, give me a free lead. That's not how this works. You have to bring something to the table. Now, those of you who are tuned in here have something to bring to the table. You have knowledge, right?
I would also say, before you even bring something to the table, actually sit down and go to your own table and analyze what can you bring.
Exactly.
Because I met somebody recently who they have a family member that works at code enforcement, Peak.
Nice.
And then all of a sudden this person was talking about how I've already talked to my family member and we're already trying to start this lead flow. I'm like, so you don't have a lead, you have a marketing channel. That is epic. And this person was just kind of like, oh, okay. But I still don't think this person realizes how huge that is.
What that really was, yeah.
So, but once that person realizes it, they'll be like, oh shit, give me that money. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we're sitting here analyzing what our give can be, understanding that you have to have a give or else you will not get, that is reciprocity. That is one of the core Latin principles of negotiating. We know that a deal requires that time, that money, and that knowledge. So you guys, by virtue of listening to this on the replay or watching this live or whatever it might be, you are already a step up on knowledge, okay? You already have one of these pieces taken care of, and so this is going to be what I'm focusing on with you today. Now, the other thing that you may have might be money. Because so I'm speaking from experience here, I have knowledge and money. I do not have the time to go out there and get these deals, just frankly. So that's where my give is. And here's my not so subtle plug. If you've got leads that you don't know how to handle and you need somebody with knowledge and money, DM me, because I have knowledge and money. That's how this works, right? So if you guys have this knowledge, and maybe you have money, that's going to be very valuable. You are going to be a huge asset to all of the folks who are deciding to get into this industry. Anybody who has done fewer than 5 or 10 deals is still trying to figure things out. And they're still trying to get to that position where they are able to consistently close on deals. And this is going to be the demographic of person who is going to be willing to work with you, person with knowledge or money or both, to come to an agreement that makes sense for both of you. Because your give is going to be, I'm going to help you close more houses. Your get is going to be, but they need to be your leads. You see what I'm saying? So this networking aspect of it is extremely important, and unless you really understand what you are bringing to the table, all else will fail.
And on that, because we're talking about the give and take, there's a interesting comment on YouTube. Michael Thompson, he's talking about, I'm listing a house for a flipper that has a tight budget for free. However, I'm not going to use the word force, but I pleasantly asked him to fund my next 2 deals. The second lead position is subject to. But that's that's a give, that's the
give
take.
And a take. Yeah, absolutely. So Michael was able to say that something that he could give, something that he could bring to the table was a free listing, right? That is not something that everybody else can bring to the table. So let's talk about, expanding a little bit when we say what can you bring to the table. Part of what matters in marketing is that you need to have ideally 3 uniques, okay? These things don't have to be entirely unique in and of themselves. Michael's uniqueness, and I'm just going to pull just straight out of this paragraph solely, right? There may be a lot of other things that Michael can put into this, but just purely out of this deal. Michael's 3 uniques were, I'm an agent who's willing to list for free. I have leads that are in a different kind of market than most everybody else is, which is sub 2, and I have the knowledge to make your capital make you money in creative financing, okay? These 3 things in and of themselves are not unique. The combination of those 3 things put together is unique. And that is what Michael was able to present to somebody in order to get into a situation where he has something coming back to him that is of value, right? So when you're sitting down and you're analyzing what your gives are, try to find 3 unique things about yourself. And this may be difficult. Without you having networked a lot already, you may not understand the things that make you unique. And this is one of the big trip-ups that I really want to present to you guys. And we've talked about this several times, where you look so much at what other people can bring that you try so hard to mimic what they can bring that you forget to appreciate the thing that you're unique about. So what I want you to do, like Ryan, you brought up last week the avatar, right? Mm-hmm. Can you fill us back in on what an avatar is?
Basically, it's just marketing jargon to where if you're trying to find, or if you're wanting to market to a specific individual, before you just throw money in the air and into Facebook ads, digital marketing, pay-per-click, you need to identify and understand who that target person is. So an avatar would be like, okay, I'm searching for somebody with red hair. I'm searching for somebody who's 5'3". I'm searching for, whatever skin, right, freckles, whatever. And I'm being absurd, but that's literally what an avatar is. It's like, I'm looking for somebody who owns a 3-2, a brick, They work in the government, or
right.
All the things that you do, whiteboard that out, and what you see as you see things, the commonalities, that becomes that avatar.
Exactly. You get to kind of shift in there. So the important part about you sitting down now, today, after this episode, after you get done listening to this, and actually whiteboarding out what your uniques are, is very similar to whiteboarding out what an avatar is, because then as you're networking and as you're finding these people, you're going to start having, because of the time you spent whiteboarding, you're going to start being able to recognize more things about why your uniques are either good or bad, or why your avatar's outline is either good or bad, because you've already got your mindset on that, right? So take that step. What are your 3 uniques? Now, before we go to break, let's recap another thing about being the hero. Ryan, are we the hero?
I don't know. I'm just all I'm thinking of is like, I need a hero. No, we're not.
No, we're not. What are we?
We're the guides in a story.
Yes.
We're the Yodas.
We are the Yoda. Hashtag
You're
be
the Yoda,
Yoda.
I'm the Patty one. Or Patty one? Patty cake?
Patty-
Whatever.
Why- yeah.
Patty one.
So we need to appreciate that about ourselves too in this situation. When we're talking about what can we bring to the table, part of what we are bringing to the table is that we are the guide. We are the Yoda. We are not the hero. We're not coming in to solve this person's problem that we're going to be talking about in segment 2, and we're not the hero of this. We understand that they're the hero. They are the one that has the leads. They're the one that's putting all of this work into it. We are going to leverage our 3 uniques to get them where they need to go. And where they need to go is more closed deals.
And before we take the break, I do want to point out, though, that you're speaking from a place of Grant Kemp, who has expertise and has the money. If you're the person watching right now that you don't have the money, you don't even have the expertise, but you have a lot of time, guess what you have? You have, well, hopefully you have hustle, you have grind, you have legs, and you have work ethic to be like, okay, I need to find somebody who has a lot of money, and I need to find somebody who has a lot of expertise, and I will be the grease I'll be the engine,
Right.
and I'll put those 2 together, and I will make something happen.
Right,
If you can
exactly.
do that, you can be successful in this business.
Absolutely. And Corey does a really good job of training on like his Monday night things about the cold calling and the driving for dollars and that kind of stuff that are things that you can do for cheap. And so that is a whole topic in and of itself of using your time in a way to go find these leads. I should reset myself in saying that when I'm talking about the networking, I'm trying to feed into the person watching this video who obviously you have a leg up on knowledge because you're watching this video, because you found Propelio TV and you know about the Propelio Academy. You've got a leg up on knowledge. So we're going to try and leverage your knowledge for somebody else's leads. Okay. That's kind of where we're coming from on this particular aspect of it. So we want to be their hero. We want to use our knowledge to help them get where they go. Now, and I'm going to close up on this because this is I actually just learned this phrase literally this morning. I was on Reddit and they were talking about something entirely different, but I was like, that is an amazing way to phrase something that I've taken way longer to explain to people. And they kind of succinctified it because that's a word now. The most successful way that you can network this and bring this stuff up, and this is going to speak to a lot of you who do, like he said, have the time, maybe not the knowledge. You are going to be most successful by being the connector, not by being the connected. Okay? So when you go to a networking event, part of your value that you're going to be able to bring is that you know me and you know Ryan. And you know how to get this knowledge off of Propelio TV. And by that, you know who Matt Aycock is, and you know who Scott Horn is, and you know who Corey Thompson is, like I just mentioned, if you're doing mobile homes or whatever. You know these people who are strong in certain areas. Therefore, you can connect dots that other people might not be able to connect. Again, our demographic here is typically going to be somebody who's done fewer than 5 or 10 deals, and they may not have all the connections up, but they do have the capital to go out and spend the marketing money. They are getting some leads that are coming across their table, but they're not converting like they should be because they don't have the knowledge and they don't have the connections. I think Brady Durr is a great example, and I think I saw Brady chiming in on the YouTube channel over here, Mortgage Medic. And Brady is a great example of that. You know, Brady got started not terribly long ago, but he's done a phenomenal job of inherently understanding the value in being a connector and always offering. Anytime he ever approached me was, how can I help you? What can I do? Hey, I know this other guy that does a thing that you need. You want me to get you his number? I can totally reach out to him and get you guys connected so that y'all can get that going, right? And you know what that's done is that's created a stronger bond and relationship between me and Brady, who, frankly, we just knew off of he was watching the live videos, just like hundreds of other people are, right? But he was one of the few who really understood, I have something to bring of value, and that is that I can connect dots because I am networking.
On that, and I know we're trying to go break, so I'll get quick. When you do say things like, hey, how can I help you? There's probably 50% of the time they're going to say, oh, that's a good question. I'll have to get back to you.
Right.
So they probably don't have an answer, but in their head, they're like, man, Grant's a cool guy. He wants to help me.
Right.
I like him. I want to work with him. That's a great scenario. The other scenario is, that's a great question. Actually, I need help this. And guess what? If they do that, then automatically you're in some sort of JV working relationship where, and I don't mean JV like whatever, but just now you have an in to where you can better build that relationship.
Exactly.
And that foundation of whatever that may be end up being later. Maybe it is a JV thing later.
Right.
But just by that question of how can I help you, it's a win-win situation.
And this is where your active listening comes so important, because if you are networking properly and you're actively listening to everybody, you should remember that Ryan is really good at connecting the dots for this certain thing, right? You should remember that Grant Kemp is really good at getting the closings done on creative financing. You should remember that Matt Aycock is an excellent attorney for, that kind of stuff, so that you can connect those dots later. So again, segment 1, we've talked about you. We've talked about what you have to offer, how you need to analyze what your 3 uniques are. And then segment 2, when we come back from break, we're going to talk about the other side of the table. What are they looking for? What is the demographic of person that we are going to be able to work with to achieve free leads to close with? So stick around, guys. I can't wait to get into that section, and we'll see you right when we get back.
Propelio.com. What does Propelio offer? Lead generating websites, access to true MLS comps, off-market lead lists, and deal alerts. Get them all today at Propelio.com.
You want to buy more houses. Here's Dar and his wife after only 2 weeks of being my mentor student. And here's Brady after paying attention to all our online videos and attending all the live Q&As. You want to buy more houses? 3 steps. Sign up at CreativeCashFlow.com/memberships, watch all the videos, attend the live Q&As, and then send me a photo with you and your sweet, sweet new contracts. CreativeCashFlow.com, helping you buy more houses for one low price of only
Hey, welcome back to Grant Teach Me Something. Today is a special day. It's season 3, episode 1, where this season Grant will be doing 3 steps to blank. Today we've already talked about networking and what you can bring to the table. Step 2 is what you can get out of them, right?
Yeah, we're going to focus on what they need.
Focusing on them. This is whatever. But before we get to that, I do want to point out to Paul on Facebook, yes, we would love to give you comps in Mississippi as well. We're actively working on that, and we're hoping in the next month or two to have nationwide comps, nationwide leads, and a nationwide Driving for Dollars app. So stick around for that. We're really looking forward to that. And also, Grant, teach me something, or not. It's CreativeCashFlow.com if you're looking for mentorship. This guy right here.
Absolutely, yeah. I'd love to help train you guys.
Butchered that whole intro to the second segment.
No, you're good. Check me out at CreativeCashFlow.com. If you like how I teach things and you want to get a little bit more experience on that side of things. Right now, again, because like you said, the name of my store is the price is about to go up. But the price is about to go up, and it will when my guy gets back from his vacation. But right now it's $650 for a lifetime membership, as you just saw on the commercial break. If you use #GTMS, all uppercase, that will give you 20% off, which means that you're getting in for $520 on something that, as soon as next week, is going to cost $1,800 to get in for the $1,800 to $2,300, depending on how you buy, to get in for that. And you're getting a lifetime access to our weekly Q&A sessions, where I will be able to answer everything for you live every Monday night. I would love to have you guys in on that. So segment 1, we talked about the us. We talked about us, right? What do we have to offer? How are we going to analyze what our 3 uniques are? And how are we going to position ourselves as the guide and not the hero to the person who is already doing marketing, getting some leads across their table, but not converting as well as they should be, okay? This is the key, right? Now we're talking about the other side of the table. When you're networking, who are you looking for? Who is that person that's going to lead to you getting free leads that can be closed? And first of all, I'm going to tell you there's a ton of people out there that this fits for. the market that we're in, and the market that we're always going to be in, is real estate. And real estate is, how's that for an obvious statement today? We're in real estate. In real estate, everybody
Not
hears,
funny.
hey, I know, I didn't get a laugh from anybody. I just do this for myself these days. Everybody wants to get in. Everybody wants to get in. Being a real estate investor is sexy. You get to put real estate investor on your business card, and all of a sudden you get to drive a Lamborghini, right? Isn't that what I saw on a YouTube commercial once? That's not how it is. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of people that get in, who are sending marketing. They're following the steps that you may have been following so far. And you may be the person that I'm talking about as the demographic of person who needs a grant to step in and be your JV partner, or needs somebody else to step in. Actually, here's a good opportunity for you guys. I didn't think about doing this before, but and if you're listening on the podcast, we've got a link to the episode in the description, so go click on the link there. But I want you guys to comment right now what your 3 uniques are. If you've already kind of got worked out what your three uniques are, comment them.
What are yours?
My uniques are that I have money, I have knowledge, and I have the back end systems, right? I have staff, I've got the systems and everything in place so that we can close things quickly and accurately, right? So those are the things that I have to bring to the table. I don't have the time. I don't have the time to go get the leads and all that kind of stuff. So that's what I need from somebody else. If you are sending marketing and you have leads coming across your table that you feel aren't getting converted as best as they could be, which means that you're converting less than 70-ish% of the leads that are interested, then you need to talk to somebody like me. So comment those if you've got an answer for that. And then if you are reading through those and you see somebody who has 3 uniques that are interesting to you, like for instance, it was Michael that says that he's a realtor that is willing to exchange his realtor services for capital. That might be interesting to some people out there, right? So comment those. This should be a time for you guys to network. We need to be very clear, we're not the heroes. Grant and Ryan are not the heroes. You guys are the heroes. Our job is to remove as many obstacles from between you and closing on more houses. And part of that is putting a network in front of you of other people who are watching these episodes who know what's going on and have this presentation given to them.
So, see, when you're asking people, because I'm hearing this, I'm going, what makes me unique? Well, shit, I don't know. I know what I need.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know what I need help with.
Mm-hmm.
So for someone like myself who struggles with finding your uniques,
Yeah.
is it just a matter of spending more time in a beer and a pen and pad or a cup of coffee?
Yeah, I think it actually is. And I think that's a really good point too, because I say that, and this is something that takes days to really figure out, honestly. So you brought up a good point. It's easier to know what you need.
Yeah.
So how about you write down 3 things that you need or something that you need, and then if somebody has that, they can chime in and help you out.
Right, because like, what is unique to me? It's like, well, I don't know, but I really need help. I've been trying to hire a VA for a week, but I haven't. I did a thing, but I still haven't interviewed anybody.
And so then you would have to have a give that makes that
I would love to hire a VA to hire a VA.
right? So, and actually, I've got some connections for that. Here you go. Actually, here you go. I have a guy for that, right?
And
so
this is a callback. This is a callback to last week with Debbie and Elizabeth on their show. Because one of the things they put it, and I made a post about it, but it was if you don't put out in the world what you're doing, no one will know. And it's
Right.
like winking at a girl in the dark. So it's like, same thing. If you have needs and you don't tell anybody, guess what? Those needs never get met.
Exactly.
Nobody's able to help.
But again, you need to analyze yourself. Like
Sorry,
we
we're
said,
going tangent.
what is your give? What can you give in return for that need that you have? So if you've got a need and you've got to give, put those there. Basically, we've listed a lot of things for you to try and start an introduction to yourself on this to have
Let's
that
just take the
networking.
next 20 minutes in silence and you just write something.
Right, I'm just going to wait. So now we need to talk about the other person, okay? What you're going to run into a lot of at these networking events, which I happen to know of a really good networking event that somebody might. Do you know of any good networking events that are scheduled out that somebody might be able to go to?
Well, one, you've got 2 coming up in the next 2 weeks. You've got We Live 19, Max Maxwell. He was on last night.
Awesome.
I still can get tickets to that thing. It's going to be a massive wholesaling event from starting Friday through Sunday. Next week, you've got Life in Air, who sponsors a TV show with us, and Daniel's going to be at that. He's very passionate about Life in Air. But then I know what you're doing. You're trying to plug us, which I love. May 14th, you've got the Propelio event. I've officially changed the name of it because I used to call it DFW Real Estate Investor Meetup. I'm like, nah, let's just call it the Propelio event.
Yeah, sure.
So that's May 14th, and we're going to be talking about property. capital raising. You got Troy Fullwood coming in, Corey
awesome.
Peterson coming in. It's gonna be a great event.
That will be.
But anyway, yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's getting at. There's
Yeah.
events all the time around you. Look up meetup.com, right? There's going to be events on meetup.com where there's going to be, I mean, you want, 5, 10 people minimum to be showing up to those things.
There was 3 big ones last night. In
Yeah,
DFW.
and actually, Brady just said that he went to a meetup last night, showed 3 folks Propelio and the Creative Cashflow Academy as a small token of thanks. Thank you. That's a perfect example of being a connector, right? He's giving to us, and we are willing to give back. So we need to go to these events. Okay, this is the in-person part. But just to kind of fast forward for a second, I'll unpack this a little bit more. But in-person events are not the only thing that's going on in 2019. There's also tons of Facebook groups that are out there that are digital networking that people don't necessarily appreciate for what it is, right? Corey's.
I was just say, quick plug before you plug everybody else. I did change the name of our Facebook group that I've done a really bad job of doing anything with. I will be honest. We haven't done anything with it, but
Yeah.
I do plan on, because I see the power of Corey's,
Right.
I see the power of Max's, I see the power of the All-In guys out of Phoenix. So we have our newly named group. You know what it's called?
The Propelio group.
The Propelio group.
Is it? That's awesome.
So we got the Propelio event and now the Propelio
Hey,
group.
you know what? Part of proper marketing, and this is going to be very important actually to this conversation, is being concise and being obvious in your pitch, right? Yeah. So there's no question about what's going on with these events, right? It's the Propelio group, it's the Propelio event. The point is you understand who Propelio is, and the give is that Propelio is giving you a great resource to go find other people. The ask is, hey, understand who Propelio is. Similarly, CreativeCashFlow.com, we just opened up our Propelio group on Saturday. I'm sorry, our Propelio group. See, it's already stuck in me. We just opened up our Facebook group specific to members of CreativeCashFlow.com on Saturday. We've already had over 500 posts in there of people being able to network with each other that are part of the Creative Cashflow group and kind of have an understanding of things. Use these networking opportunities, whether that is digitally or in person, to find people who are the yin to your yang, okay? I talk about this in proper business partnerships, right? So we've got this 3 Steps to series. Next week, we're going to be talking about 3 steps to a good ARV. The week after that, we're going to be talking about 3 steps to having repeat wholesale buyers. If you're a wholesaler, how do you get that person that's just going to buy everything you send to them? And the week after that, we're going to be talking 3 steps to a good business partnership. And one of those steps to a good business partnership is going to be a very applicable step here in the networking side of things when we are talking about bringing in our give for a get, is that you've got to find the yin to your yang, right? And what I mean by that, I think everybody understands what a yin yang looks like, right? It's got the little bit of black and white and a little bit of white and black. You need to have just enough knowledge of what the other person has to where you can speak just enough of their language, but they're bringing the fullness of the rest of that black, or they're bringing the fullness of the rest of that white. Do you see where I'm going with this? You might have your 3 uniques, which is your white, and you need to understand enough about the marketing, the black, that you can talk to this person who's sending out their marketing but has no idea how to close these deals. That's your opportunity. That's the person that you need. And I see these posts all the time in Facebook groups of, hey, I've got this lead. I have no freaking clue what to do with it. These are the numbers. Help me, please. Right? That's a free lead. That's a free lead. Give that person part of the deal and help them close that. Even if you don't know how to close that, you know how to get in touch with Grant Kemp. You know how to get in touch with people who do. The Matt Aycocks, the Scott Horns, these guys. Be the connector and make that work for them. It's very important to understand their needs, because they, and this may be you, so you might be able to empathize with this. They are sending out marketing. They are talking to people, and they're frustrated because they're getting these things that they think that they should be able to close, but they can't. Mm-hmm. Right?
On that, real quick, because we always say real estate investing is a team sport. I actually was just thinking about something, how to make that analogy better. And real estate is a team sport, but guess what? That sport is pro, and professional athletes get paid.
Yeah.
So when you do connect somebody, or somebody does connect something, like if Grant connects me to Tommy, well, either Grant or Tommy need to pay me
Yes.
some kind of referral fee.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe it's a steak dinner. Maybe it's $1,000. Maybe it's $100,000, depending on what came of that. But the whole point is, there is altruism in this business, but it comes with a cost.
Yeah. And
anyway.
and I want and Tommy over here is
And the number one thing I learned in college was, in business, if you love me, say it with a check.
There you go, Tommy.
I love that. Yeah.
Less is more.
I still remember Tommy
you, sir.
bringing that up when he got that in his business class. He was like, brilliant, and it is.
Yeah.
It's true. You've got to show that. And here's a perfect example of a free lead that I got a few months ago. My free lead was, and I haven't talked to Corey. I don't know. He's just on my. I guess because the Max Maxwell thing. He had Max Maxwell on a couple nights ago, which is awesome. But Corey and his group, a couple months ago, there was a deal that came across, and he just tagged my name. Because he was like, this kind of fits. That's something that might be that Grant wants, right? Tag my name. Because I've done enough networking and enough people know my give, which is the creative strategies and that kind of stuff, he was able to recognize and be the connector that made this work. I got a free lead because I did not have to pay for that marketing that got that sent to me. And he didn't have to do anything but tag my name. After I closed on the deal, saw that it was a deal to be closed, I sent him a message. I was like, hey, dude, thanks for tagging me on that. What do you want for that? Is $500 fair for tagging me on a deal? Which I think is, very fair for just a tag on the thing. And he said, dude, I'm not worried about the money. Don't even, just give that to Kids Cancer, Beat Kids Cancer, RJ Bates's group. So I did.
Yeah.
But the point is, everybody that's involved in a deal gets paid. You've got to be very, 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 very diligent on that, just like you talked about.
Yeah, and on that note is even if you are the person that's being that person, the connector, or if you're the in-between and you're the one that should be getting paid, it is a back-of-the-mind expectation, but it's more of and this is one of those, there's a lot of baseball type rules where it's a rule, but it's not really a rule,
Right.
In real estate. So in that note, it's kind of like you do this stuff in good faith to see what the return is, and that is a determination of, do I do business with this person ever again?
Sure.
So perfect example with Corey, same guy. Daniel had to deal with him over a year ago where Daniel and I, neither one of us saw the deal. Mm-hmm. Corey was the one that was closest to it. He looked at it. He's like, yeah, it's good. It was still our lead. He's the one who looked at it. We inked it up. He did all the due diligence. He did that. He even found a buyer. And he's like, cool, man. And we're like, no, here's 50%. He's like, no, just give me a cut. No.
Yeah.
Here's 50% of the deal.
Right.
Because that's what you do.
Exactly. You need to clue them in. So this is feeding into our next segment, which is going to be, how do we price this?
Yeah, I feel like I messed this up by tangenting a lot. Did we actually cover segment 2?
I was actually gonna try and rewind a little bit there because we did skip through.
I'll own that. Sorry, everybody. That's my bad.
No, it's all good. It's all good. So segment 2, talking about who is this person. The main demographic of this person is going to be somebody, like I said, who's done fewer than 5 deals, more than likely. Somebody who knows the power of real estate, who is doing the things like we've talked about, the driving for dollars, the sending out mailers, the getting calls, that kind of stuff, who has things coming to their table that they are unable to close. And so here is how I phrase this. This is going to be, I hope, one of your biggest takeaways from this, because we've talked about the question of, how can I help you? What are you trying to leverage, your time, your money, or your knowledge? This is the next way of how you close the deal with somebody like this. If they are somebody who is getting leads, right, and through your conversations and through your rapport building, you see that they're getting leads, maybe they're a wholesaler. My favorite question is, okay, so what are you doing with the leads that owe too much for you to take down, or they're unwilling to sell it to you for a price that you need? What are you doing with those leads? 99% of the time, the answer is something along the lines of throwing them away. 99% of the time, it's, well, I can't do anything with them because they owe too much, or because they won't come down on the price. Everybody's crazy. Your response is then going to be, well, here's the thing. I actually specialize in that area. That's my main focus, is these high LTV loans, LTV being
Loan to value.
Loan to value. These high LTV deals, that's my specialty, low equity stuff. So how about this? When you run across those deals that you're not going to be able to close, send them over to me, and I will close that deal, okay? And I will cut you in on the deal, and we'll talk about in the next segment how to cut them in on that deal. And this is the phrase. This is the golden nugget here. This way you're paying for your marketing campaign out of your trash can.
Can I add to that
Yes.
nugget? Just because what you just said sparked a
Please.
mini tangent. How many people get return mail postcards and throw them away? Like if you've ever done direct mail, you send out 20,000 mailers and you get 400, 500 back a week or whatever. You get a ton back. Most people throw these away. Call to Propelio Academy, Larry Higgins, skip tracing, Skip Genie. That is his goal. That's not a trash can to him. That's a buffet. Because what he does is then that was good.
That's good.
Anyway,
I like
so what he
that.
does is then he skip traces all of those return mail, because let's face it, those are leads that if the return mail came back to me, it most likely went back to Grant.
Right.
That return mail went back to Travian, went back to Tommy, went back to Daniel. Who out of this group is going to do the work to find where that person is?
Right.
Because there's a reason they got that postcard.
Sure.
There's a reason they're on that list. Now, who's going to put in the work to skip trace them, to find them? So the reason I'm bringing this tangent up is 99% of most people are not going to do anything. And in fact, that really is a trash can. So if you could be the person that, what is the line you just said?
To help them pay for their marketing campaign out of their trash can.
If you can do that, you're going to get paid too.
Absolutely. And that's a great way to leverage your time. I like you bringing that up. It's like, hey, look, are you getting return mail? I'll just show up to your office every week. How often are you sending your mailers out? I'll show up to your office every week. Just hang on to your return mail. If I'll grab them, I'll skip trace them, I'll figure out where they are, and we can close those deals together. This way you're paying for your marketing campaign out of your trash can. Who's the hero there? They are. They're paying for their marketing campaign out of their trash can. It's all about what they have going on.
You know, I'm glad, that right there, because we always talk about, how do I get this business? How do I get business? That. That's huge. I mean, we literally just came up that way on the fly. Just showing up at somebody's office once a week.
Absolutely.
You go to the events that you went last night. Hey, how much return mail? Hey, I'll come by once a week, and then I'll do the work.
And here's the thing. You may get 20 folks that say yes to that. So 20 people's marketing budget is going out. 20 people's worth of return mail is coming in, and you stop off at 20 offices every week, and you've got all this stuff right in front of you for free that you're able to convert.
And yes, we came up that way on the fly. I don't know of anybody doing that as a plan.
Yeah.
So if you can find a way to plan that out in whatever market you're in,
Cut me in.
that's, I'm just pay us. My
playing. Don't
Venmo
pay us.
is, I don't know, what's the Venmo? Anyway.
Right. So now the next logical question is, so how do I pay them? What is a acceptable cut of each deal to make this work? So when we come back from the break, we're
The
going
answer
to...
is, it depends.
Yeah, it does. It does. When we come back from the break, we are going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what is an acceptable cut of a deal for what's being brought to the table, guys. So stick around and we'll see you on the other side.
Propelio.com. What does Propelio offer? Lead generating websites, access to true MLS comps, off-market lead lists, and deal alerts. Get them all today at Propelio.com.
You want to buy more houses? Here's Dar and his wife after only 2 weeks of being my mentor student. And here's Brady after paying attention to all our online videos and attending all the live Q&As. You want to buy more houses? 3 steps. Sign up at CreativeCashFlow.com/memberships, watch all the videos, attend the live Q&As, and then send me a photo with you and your sweet, sweet new contracts. CreativeCashFlow.com, helping you buy more houses for one low price of only
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Grant Teach Me Something. In this season, season 3, we are doing a 3 Steps to series. All right, today is 3 Steps to getting and converting free leads. What we've talked about so far is what to analyze about yourself, what's going to be your give. We've talked about what to analyze about the demographic of the person you need those leads from. And now we're going to talk about how can you do these deal splits in a way that's fair and equitable to both parties involved in that, okay? So before we step into that, I just again want to give a shout out to Propelio. Propelio.com is the reason why all of this is here, the reason why all of this is funded, the reason why everything is happening and you guys are getting such amazing content is because Propelio is putting that in front of you. So please reward them by going to Propelio.com, checking out there. If you're not already a member, check out, become a 7-day trial person. See what it's about because you're going to love what you see inside of that. Also, Propelio.com/academy. We are going to be launching a revamp of that academy here very shortly. That is a partnership between Propelio and CreativeCashFlow.com of getting great education in front of you guys. And Propelio is providing unlimited scholarships for you guys to get in there without having to reach into your own pocketbook. So let's get into the cuts of the deal.
Well, I was just going to say, before we get into the next topic, we kind of joke, well, I kind of joked, it depends. And I threw that out there mainly because you're talking about, taking care of that relationship. And when I say it depends, it's like, well, do you want that relationship to continue? Because if you kind of underpay, guess what? You're never going to do that deal again.
Yep.
If you overpay, well, they're always going to do that deal with you. So you got to find that happy medium.
That is absolutely
That's why
true.
I just want to point out real quick.
I'm glad you pointed that out because that really is the cornerstone to this segment. That really is the cornerstone of everything that has to be built upon that.
And that's why I'm here, YouTube channel, comments. Looking at you.
So that really is, again, that is the cornerstone of this, is we need to understand what it is that we're truly anticipating to happen here, okay? So I'm going to be very pragmatic here for a moment. I think part of the problem of investors as a whole, us, I'm including myself in that, I'm not pointing at you, I'm saying us, we're very dreamy. Very dreamy. We like to think of the, what's the word I'm looking for? Like kind of the concept without the practicality, okay? So conceptually, yeah, I'm gonna go be a real estate investor. I'm gonna make a ton of money, I'm gonna buy all these houses. Practically, I'm gonna bust my ass and I'm gonna work tons of hours every day and I'm gonna sacrifice in my life to maybe get some successes after 6 or 9 months worth of work, okay? Two different stories. Now, conceptually, hey, I'm going to go to these networking events and I'm going to start talking on these networking, Facebook groups, which by the way, your give in those is to answer people's questions and then reach out to them and say, hey, are you interested in working this together? Just to be clear. Conceptually, yeah, I'm going to buy all these houses. Practically, you're going to be teaching a lot of people what's happening. You're going to have a lot of time vampires that come in that have no idea what they're doing and they think that if it's a crap lead, that means it's an owner-financed lead and you should be able to close it. You're going to have to foster those relationships. You're going to have to work just as hard at maintaining that relationship as you would at actually marketing out and sending direct mail and all that kind of stuff, right? From a pragmatic standpoint, from a realistic standpoint, this is still going to be work. It's just that you get to do this work for free. And that's the key to this episode is free, not easy, okay? So the next step of being very pragmatic and realistic about what we're talking about here is you're going to anticipate to get somewhere between 1 and 5 deals from any one relationship that you might build in this way. You are typically not going to get 10 or 15 or 20 deals from one relationship. Just not going to happen because guess what? Do you know what the average, and I don't know an actual stat on this, but if you had to guess, what is the average turnover rate of somebody who gets into the business and says, I'm going to be a real estate investor, to somebody says, this is too hard, I've dropped out? How long does that typically take somebody? And percentage-wise, how often do you think that's happening?
I would throw out, and this is zero. Throw a dart in the dark. Whatever. Maybe 3 months and maybe 70 to 90%.
Yeah, I would agree with that wholeheartedly. I think within 3 to 6 months, 70 to 90% easily of the people who say they're going to be investors drop out because they find out that it's actually work.
And the best way to, and that's completely anecdotal, the best way to think about that or to prove or, case study this is go to a networking event, go to a local RIA, and just make a mental note of every person you see there. Don't go to it for 2 to 3 months and come back 4 months later and go, who are these new people?
Yep, absolutely. So what I'm getting at here is the realism of that demographic of person that we spoke about in segment 2 is probably going to be out of the business in 6 months. But can we help them close a couple of deals in that meantime, which is going to help us and help them before they figure out that real estate investing was this conceptual thing that they were unready for the realism of?
But I would argue that if you were able to help them close 2 to 3 deals in that 3 to 6 months, guess what they're going to be doing the next 3 to 6 months? They're probably going to be looking for 2 to 3 more deals.
Totally. Absolutely. So I'm just saying, in realism, we need to be aware of what's actually happening. I'm not teaching you how to go build one relationship that's going to bring you 50 deals. That's not what this is, okay? You're building one relationship that might bring you 1 to 5 deals. So how do we compensate that person? It depends is the right answer. Because what are you bringing matters. What are they bringing matters. One of the cornerstones to when I do a JV agreement with somebody is everybody gets paid for what they did, okay? So in my view of a JV, my view of splitting deals with people, basically this is how I view it. Now, I'm able to pull this move because, you know, I do have experience. I do have a portfolio. I get 20% just for being involved, okay? If I'm involved, I get 20%. But then, and that's of the profits, but then you've got different jobs that need to happen. So if we're talking about like a typical buy and hold, whether that's owner financed or whatever, you've got somebody that has to find the deal, somebody has to contract the deal, somebody has to rehab the deal, somebody has to handle the sale. In my view, each of these things is worth 20%. I get 20% for being involved. You get 20% for bringing the lead. Did I contract it or did you contract it? That person gets 20%. Who ran the rehab on it? Well, again, I get to pull this move because I've got some experience and everything, but I do not allow the other person to run the rehab if I'm in on this deal. And I'm sorry, I'm gonna change something here in a second. I run the rehabs because I trust that I can run the rehabs. This part where I say run the sale, this is totally interchangeable, depending on what you want. A can be handle the sale of it, which is frankly pretty easy, and it's easy for them to grab that 20%. B can be somebody needs to bring the money. That's usually what I would recommend you using, is bring the money.
And on that, you could take Grant's, 2020, 2020, and even if you're not comfortable with running your own rehabs, this person who's bringing the other team together, even if their only goal or their only job or their only value to the group is bringing the group together, guess what? Who cares? That's what a deal syndicator is.
Right.
On like a multifamily big thing. Mm-hmm. All they're doing is bringing the team together. Mm-hmm. So go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, take that for what you will. I think that has been one way that I've landed on that I think is most fair, most easily understood by everybody. And part of the reason why I say running the sale is that it's usually implied if I'm involved, I'm bringing up the money. But again, this running the sale / bringing the money, that's important. Run 20% for each one of those things. Now, it also depends on, A, their experience, B, what do they want from the deal? Because here's the other side of this, is you don't necessarily want to have to give up too much, right? You want to give up just enough that they're motivated to still work with you, but not enough to where they're over-motivated, where like, of course they're going to send you all their deals. They're getting 90% of this deal, you're getting 10% of it, and they don't have to do squat. Of course they're going to send it to you. That's a little bit of how I feel about Oyez. I'm like, of course I'm going to send Oyez my short sales. Like, I get all the good stuff, and they deal with all the crap. Like, of course I'm going to do that. But they found that model to work for themselves. So that's one way to do it. I will either pitch that, because this is going to be something that I offer to somebody who's a little bit more experienced. This 2020 thing, I don't know how many times I said 20. That's going to be what I'm offering to somebody who's a little bit more sophisticated, right? Who deserves some more of that back end, who deserves some more of the opportunity to make money in different ways. Because, like, if somebody's coming to me and they're like, dude, I've got the money for this, I've got the lead, I've got the crews, I just need somebody who knows how to close this, right? Well, it's fair for them to get those 3 parts of that, right? All I'm doing is saying, yeah, that looks good, go ahead, right? They should get the lion's share of that cut. So with the more sophisticated people, that's what I'm doing. For the less sophisticated folks, the people, and when I say sophisticated, this is not a knock at intelligence. It's what I'm talking about is like in the business.
Right.
Right.
Have you been there a week? Have you been there 10 years?
Right. For the newer investor, again, the fewer than 5, frankly, a little bit clueless, but has some leads that they can close. They're looking for cash now is typically their big motivator, because this is typically going to be a wholesaler, quote unquote. They're going to call themselves a wholesaler. So they want cash. That's what they're focused on. So my other offer that can get people motivated to continue to send them leads is that I will pay them 1.5% of the sales price when we take it down, we fix it up, we get it sold. When we sell it, that handshake is worth 1.5% of the sales price, the ARV sales price. Okay, so that typically ends up netting them somewhere between $1,500 and $5,000. And all they've done is put a handshake there, right? And so that's fair. That's equitable for both people. Now, I want to be clear that this can get into some legal, everything that I'm talking about here. You need to have a lawyer draft some stuff up for you. And I'm going to give Matt Aycock another shout out here. You should reach out to Matt Aycock and ask him for JV agreements to get these things really drafted up the right way. I'm just talking about the what we've seen work on percentages. Okay, so that's another thing. The last section that I will get into before we Geraldo has a good question here. We'll get into that. The last option that I will give is that if both of you are kind of clueless and you're kind of getting into this and you're just like, look, I'm just kind of starting at this, but I'm a connector and I'm ready to work and I'm ready to fill in the gaps that you don't have filled. Just do 50-50. Just split. If y'all are both kind of in that area where it's like both of you are just trying to make it work and you don't have a huge, 3 uniques, you don't have a huge offer, but you can help them get it closed because they need more manpower and they just kind of need 2 brains going after this and you know some stuff that they don't, just do a straight 50-50 split.
And this is where it depends comes to play.
Exactly.
Because you found a model that works for you, but it always changes. If 50-50, it could be a 10-90, it could be whatever. So like if you go to Oraldo's Villarreal, that's awesome. I was doing most of the work on some deals and paying close to 40% for just booking the appointment, which I sourced all leads and marketing. On surface level, you could be like, oh my God, you're paying way too much money. But on the other hand, you could be like, okay, well, those appointments, if you is 40%, you have to analyze it. You can't just do a knee-jerk reaction. You need to really go, okay, well, without paying this 40%, would I still have those appointments?
Right.
If I drop it to 15%, will I still get the same quality? Will I still get the same this? So before you just knee-jerk it, you really need to analyze, maybe that's a fair price. Maybe you're overpaying tremendously. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Your thoughts on that?
I think it's extremely insightful, and I think it's exactly the intent of this segment, is to get that kind of thought out in front of you. Is it depends. We mean it. It depends. What are you bringing to the table, and what are they bringing to the table? So I just gave you 3 basic ways. I gave you a 3 within a 3 within a 3. It's 3 steps within our 3 steps within season 3, and it's in the 3rd month. So
let me just to give you some insight to Grant Teach Me Something. If you've watched, this is I need to go back and do a show count, but we've been doing this since
I think it's like 70 something.
September of 2017. If you haven't noticed, my absolute favorite thing to do on this show is when Grant has some sort of nerdy-ass question or joke, is just stonewall it, not laugh, and make him feel just...
Yeah.
So if you see me that and you're like, man, Ryan's an asshole,
it's intentional.
It's intentional,
and it
because
works.
I love crushing his soul when it comes to these jokes.
I like how happy Tommy is back here about this. Like, he's like truly overjoyed that Grant's soul is being crushed.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Anyway,
so
sorry.
I gave you 3 options, right? The 2020, 2020. I've given you just give them 1.5% of the sales price. And then we've like, look, if y'all are both kind of going at this blind, just split it 50-50. Part of something that I should have addressed in segment 1 is be very honest about what you do and don't have. If you're new to this and you don't really have a lot, but you're willing to hustle and work, guys, that honesty, you'll hear me talk about this constantly with our negotiation series of just being honest and how refreshing that is to the person who's being negotiated with. If you're just like, look, dude, I haven't done a lot, frankly, but I'm ready to get this going. Like, I'm ready, and I know some stuff, and I can help you close these deals. Be honest about that. What are you laughing about?
Because earlier it's like, I don't know my uniques. Dusty Cone is like, Ryan's give is crushing souls.
That's awesome. All right, so guys, thank you so much for joining us. Again, this is season 3. We're starting off here. We're doing a 3 steps 2. I hope you enjoy this series. I'm trying to simplify out as many things as possible into 3 bite-sized chunks for you guys. We got 3 segments in each episode, and I want to make these bite-sized enough for you to really understand the concepts, to understand what you may not know, and then if you want more from this, please keep in mind, CreativeCashFlow.com. I do a weekly Q&A every Monday night for all my members on CreativeCashFlow.com.
Is your price going up soon?
My price is going up soon. Why would you wonder that? I've never said that before.
I thought I saw that somewhere.
This has been the most ridiculous thing. I've been raising my price since like November, but
2012.
but like I keep running into stuff. Forever we were waiting on the videos to get edited. We finally got the editing, finally had that up. Then my copywriter was behind on schedule. Then I finally then all this legislative stuff has taken my time away from me. Which, by the way, dude, we got it. We freaking got it. I had a meeting, and this is a total tangent here, but I had a meeting with the stinking commissioner of the Texas SML, which is the Savings and Mortgage Lending Department. That is the regulatory body over lending in Texas. Her general counsel, the general counsel of licensure in Texas for lending, the general counsel for all of the banks in Texas, the general counsel for all of the mortgage associations in Texas, as well as Senator Zaffarini's decision makers and House Representative Ortega's decision makers. And I sat in a room with them, and I was able to witness. And here's the give and take. They were amazing at truly listening to our ask, right? And truly listening to what I was trying to tell them about what we needed from them to make this bill work. And we worked from both sides of the table to where we gave them some stuff. We gave them some stuff that investors were going to be able to live with. We're going to have to change how we do things as of January, but we even pushed that back. It was supposed to be September that compliance went in. It's going to January. I'll fill you guys in on the rules once it gets voted through so that we know exactly what the language is. But I'm super excited about that. It was a really cool experience to be able to be the general counsel of the Texas Bankers Association even joked that they were going to call this the Grant Kemp bill. So don't hate me if you hate the bill, but like me if you like it.
And real quick, just to plug a show that we got going every Friday at 5 o'clock is the Rewind. And the reason I want to plug it is what we do. I say we. What Tommy does is he's not only is he behind the scenes, but he's taking notes on every single show. Not just Grant Teach Me Something, but every show that we have on Propelio TV. And every Friday at 5 o'clock, we do the Rewind and we recap the nuggets of the entire week. Now, what I want the ask is if you go to propelio.com/rewind, there's an email capture there. The purpose of that email capture is so I can email you once a week with a link to get those notes. That's the easiest way I can think of to get those notes out. So if you want notes of the shows,
That's awesome. Yeah,
that's the way to get it.
It's Sonia says it's not Cliff Notes, it's Tommy Notes.
There you go.
So
there you go, Trey. We need to change that graphic to Tommy Notes. But propelio.com/rewind. And hey, if you want to watch Rewind, I don't care. But I do care. But the notes, if you want notes from all the shows, just go to that and then give us your email. We'll send you the once a week.
Absolutely. Is there anything else that you want to close up with before we head out?
Just real quick again, if you're local to DFW or you're in Texas this weekend, Max Maxwell's We Live 19, it's Wholesaling Elite. If you have the ability to go to it, it looks like it's shaping up to be a massive real estate wholesaling event here in Dallas. He was in here last night, Max, and he was a super genuine dude. Cool. Like zero douche factor.
That's awesome.
That's
hard to find, honestly,
it's very
in somebody
awesome
that
when
size.
you meet somebody like that side that's not. So I just really want to plug those two shows we did yesterday. We did Carlos Reyes out of Phoenix. Massive nuggets that were dropping that show. And then Max came in later that night. So two massive shows we did yesterday. But anyway, we live at 19 this weekend. I mean, obviously, we have nothing to do with it, so there's not an affiliate.
Sure.
It's just a community and abundance. Next weekend, you've got Life in Air. They're helping us out, sponsoring the TV here, and Daniel's very passionate about Life in Air. And then May 14th, you've got our event in DFW. Outside of that, you got the Propelio Academy, propelio.com/academy, that we talk about a lot. And then you've also got propelio.com, leads, websites, and access trim comps and deal alerts. And on that, we actually think we have a way in the next month or two to have national comps.
That's awesome.
National
I was talking to
leads,
Daniel about that. That sounds
national
phenomenal.
everything. So our biggest complaint against us right now is we don't have a national product. So we're trying to get that. So
Okay.
anyway, I'll let you take it out, and we'll head out. And we'll see you
Yeah,
next week,
absolutely.
hopefully.
And just to answer a question, I've actually seen 2 or 3 people messaging me already right now. If you've got leads that you want me to be the guy that's JVing with you on, you can either DM me through Facebook or shoot me an email at grant@tripleequity.net, TRIPLEEQUITY. That's what we do a lot of our acquisitions through, and we'll help you out with that as well. So if you need my give and you have leads that you want closed, feel free to reach out to me from there. Thank you guys for tuning in. Looking forward to this 3rd season here, and we will see you next week.
Propelio TV is sponsored by Noble Mortgage and Investments, CreativeCashFlow.com, and Life and Air.
Hey everybody, I'm Ryan with Propelio. If you like what you saw, please subscribe. Turn on those notifications and stick around for more. We have tons of content like this all over our channel. So if you want to learn more about real estate investing, stick around, watch Propelio TV, and we'll see you later.